Uh-oh, we got a problem, Houston. Is this rafter the right rafter? Oh, the wheels are coming off, Mike. We got a problem. So do you guys have SP5s? Must be in the truck, I'm guessing.
We have some small pieces.
Yeah. All right, so here we are on the Maryland build. We're on the Chesapeake Bay, pretty stunning site. Clayton, Mitchell, and I are gonna start working on building the first floor platform. The rest of the crew were having some vehicle issues, so we're not expecting them to arrive until later today.
So we bought the property almost 2 years ago, and plan all along was kind of slow and steady, and we've really followed through on that. My mom and my dad, they built a post and beam house. That's where I grew up. So it's a family affair, and we've been working on it together and pulling together our experiences. I came to Shelter with an original design. Through working with Ethan, we kind of went through some iterations as well to just work out the kinks. We put a lot of effort in leading to this moment, and then it really accelerates.
We could get the van down there. I could get a pickup truck and a trailer there. But it's all just hours of time away. This was a heavy frame. It's distributed among 3 different rigs. The vast majority obviously is here on this truck, but we had probably 12 or 13,000 pounds that we put on a flatbed trailer. Around New York City, guys hit some bumps, and it was enough that the trailer tire actually went up into the underside of the flatbed, scarred the tire. That happened twice. Never a good feeling when you burn through those 2 spares. So they pulled off into a safe spot. They have gotten 2 brand new tires mounted, but we also rented a Penske truck, and we took some of that weight off the flatbed trailer to try and eliminate this problem from continuing to happen, because they're still 4.5 hours out. So there are many bumps between New York City and this job site. All right, so here we are on day 2. The rest of the crew was able to limp into the hotel sometime in the middle of the night. Not exactly sure when they got in. I'm leaving them alone, letting them rest a little bit this morning. In the meantime, the advanced team, the A team, is gonna keep on rolling. We're gonna get all of that sheathing down, get the bents laid out on the sheathing so we know where everything lands, and then we're gonna start timber framing finally. The Midnight Riders arrived. The guys were out super late.
Hey, Kate! Hey, man! How's it going?
Great.
How's your night?
Super. Good. Good to see you.
Good to see you guys. How was that?
Oh, it was fun. Yeah, it's a good time. But we got through it. Just
Yeah.
pushed through nice and slow and managed to
Get any sleep?
here. A little bit, yeah. Sleep. All right, now we know the limit is now. So.
Now that the first floor platform is fully done, we're ready to start timber framing. We're done being stick framers for a bit. So now we're just sort of organizing, digging through the piles to get to the stuff that we need to start assembling the first bend.
Hey, the deck's done. You guys seem to perfectly show up when the deck's done.
because we're the timber framing.
your stuff, man.
We're the timber framing crew. It's time for you to go home now.
No, this is the fun
Can't
part.
do it.
So this is a 2-story bent, so we have 2 tie beams. So we started off by getting the first floor tie beam connected to the 2 center posts. Then we brought this 3rd floor tie beam in. We have another row of posts that are connecting the 2nd floor to the 3rd floor tie beam. So we gotta get those in first, and then we're sliding the eave posts onto the tenons from there. Once the frame's all put together, a lot of the joiner will tell us if the frame needs to be tweaked here or there. The bent's not 100% square, so I think we're gonna take some measurements, check it for square, and try to get it tweaked a little bit before we tighten it up a lot more. About 6.5 inches out of square.
Wow.
See how it's so racked like that?
It's like this right now.
Right, we got to pull that back. Yeah, let's start how we normally do it, just getting the straps and the come-alongs across horizontally, the vertical straps, and then we'll see. We might be able to move this over just by tunking it too. All right, so we're 1.5 inches. It's still a little short this way. Yeah, that looks good. I think we're good right there. Yeah, we've got several come-alongs by Lugall. We also use ratchet straps to get some of the shorter posts tight. Joinery's tight, we'll then peg it. So this is great for now. We'll get it stood up. We'll check it again once it's standing up.
Why do you guys use this mirror?
Well, we get a really good look at all of this up here while we're tightening everything together. And we can imagine that the other side is tight too, but it's just good to check because if it's not, there are some things that we can do to make it a little better.
This is the biggest milestone for us, of course, so far. I mean, this is already so exciting as it is. The moment that we've got a few of the bents up and you can really appreciate the scale of the home, we've tried to be very careful about as well, but I think that's gonna be a big moment. When we go vertical and we really see what we're doing here. Very excited to see that.
Yeah, so when we're assembling bents, we try to do everything. There is no try. We don't try. We do everything that we can to the bent on the ground. And then the next step is to carefully rig the bent. This one probably weighed about 1,500 pounds, so we wanted to make sure that the straps we were using were adequate to lift the bent up. It's a great opportunity to break something if you're not being careful and paying attention. In some cases, you have to reinforce the bent. So here we had a 2-beam bent, second floor and third floor, and because of the weight of the bent, I was worried about that third floor beam pulling away from the second floor. So we actually installed another ratchet strap to hold those 2 beams tight while I was lifting it into place. Often the worst stresses the joints see are on raising day, so you want to make sure that you attach to it carefully and lift it.
So right here, we're just toe-nailing the base of the post down into the platform. That's not the primary means of connection the frame to the foundation. When we're sanding it, we don't want it to move around on us. That's what I'm trying to say.
Alright, you just have to pull that out, take it all apart.
Yeah, I think so. It's only the upper one that has to move. Yeah.
James, could you kind of explain what's happening here?
Sure. Let me just take a little salt and rub it into these wounds. So this bent was put together incorrectly, to make a long story short. The top beam was put in backwards. It has to do with the joist pattern on the third floor. Pull it apart, take that third floor beam out and flip it end for end. Stand it back up.
Huddle in.
Do you want to do this before lunch? You guys good? Or would you rather have a lunch break?
Oh, we gotta get this thing up.
It's gonna take a little time, right? We gotta stand it up, so we gotta drop at least 2 joists in.
Yeah, then we can
I feel like it'll be a nice
after
mental victory.
Or we drop at least 8 joists in.
Joist after joist.
talk to
I
him.
imagine this whole drive had stages. The first 3 hours were like, woo, boys trip.
First 3 hours.
First 3 hours I was snoring.
I was gonna say, I guess my guess is off. My next guess is the last 3 hours.
How are you feeling with progress so far?
Not good, Mike. Really not good. It's really not a good time to even talk right now, if you don't mind. No, feeling good. When you move from one phase of construction to the next. Today, the example is finishing stick framing the first floor platform and then moving into timber framing. You know, there's always downtime and confusion, and figuring out what the strategy is going to be and so on. I think we had all things considered, very seamless transition between those two tasks, and we're well into timber framing now. 2 bents up and about to stand our 3rd bent. We're finding our flow, so to speak.
Like I said, the scale is there. We can see it now.
Oh man, that is so awesome. It really is. It's beautiful, just beautiful.
Feeling really good. Had high expectations for this team, and they're coming through so far.
Sponsored by Amazon.
How's the decking going?
Good so far. There's still a lot to do.
Just getting some deck boards cut up for the 1st and 2nd floor. Ethan had come up with a good plan for us on how we should lay it out. So we got a lot of things to cut, so we figured we might as well get ahead of it while the crew is assembling the beds. We could just, after they're up, then we can start flooring it.
We're squaring the building right now so that we can put the decking up. The decking will hold it square. All set? There we go.
So Gabe and Rusty are putting on the decking boards for our 2nd floor and our 1st bay. And then once I get enough over there for them, I'll hop up there and help them. Let's start it.
Impossible.
Yeah.
It seems.
We're very impressed with how quickly this has gone up. They make it look easy.
Yeah.
I don't even think they broke a sweat.
Yeah, so that's called a gun stock. Mitchell's installing those. What it is it's extension of the post to carry a rafter plate for this narrower section here. So instead of adding another post, we added this gun stock on the side of this main post to carry that rafter plate.
I'm down. It's probably a good quitting time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because we can keep going, right?
What's the end? This is amazing. Having this done, the rest of it will drop in.
Yeah, that'll be pretty easy, yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. I think we're gonna clean up.
All right, this is the end of day 2 on the Maryland build. What I have to say is that once again, the shelter design build crew pulled off an unbelievable recovery after suffering just a few hours of sleep last night in the quest to get down here safely. The rest of the crew showed up this morning and really gave it hell and really got a lot done. And really pounded the pavement. They got down here and really pushed a lot of timber through the grist mill. So we got a lot of work done today. I'm very happy with where we're sitting at the end of day 2. I think there's a good chance we could finish tomorrow. We'll see how the day goes. Of course, I talked earlier about how we had the transition from building that first floor platform into timber framing. It's a very different activity. We got to it pretty quickly, and as you can see behind me, got a lot of it done. Tomorrow morning, we're going to start with timber framing. So we're going to go right into that activity that we know and love. And I think there's a pretty good chance we'll get this timber frame completely wrapped up so we can head home Thursday morning. If you're enjoying watching these videos, you're interested in timber framing, you're thinking about building yourself a timber frame, or maybe you want to start your own timber framing company, check out sheltercourses.com to learn how you can become a timber framer. All right, so we're on day 3 of our Maryland build. 3rd day in a row, we've been greeted with some liquid sunshine in the morning. Today we're picking up right where we left off. We've moved up to the 3rd floor, so we're gonna be setting in the 3rd floor structure, dropping in a bunch of joists. Then we'll be assembling principal rafter sets, swinging those up, and then finally topping the roof out with roof purlins.
If you look down at the end of the joist here, that's where we marked them. There's a certain order that they go in. Joist pockets are going to be cut in certain spots. In this bay, we start at the outside of the building with an R1 all the way to the far rim. As we work our way in, it'll be a J1. These 2 headers held these 2 headers. These headers holding the joists. Very important to follow the sequence.
There it goes. Yep.
So right now we're just landing some rafters. So I got a little bit of a gap right here. He's got the screws that pull. You know, this is just to set it into the top plate.
Everywhere else is tight, so I'm trying to pull the 2 rafter plates together. That'll tighten up this gap. Hopefully that's what we're trying to do. Yeah, that's pretty tight on this side.
I'm just drilling and pegging the holes here for this collar tie. This collar tie actually carries the ridge beam here. That's why these posts are under it. I had to put a couple of screws in the top here. Putting those screws in just helps get that compression that we want in the joint. Probably as you can see, the pegs I'm driving in are going a lot harder than usual. So that's just because of the rain. The wood's all swelled up, and then the pegs get wet. They're dried oak and they also swell. So nothing a bigger hammer can't solve.
Just one of those parts in the deck where we're transitioning from one side to the other. But once we get past this board with these notches, we should be able to fly down this. It's all racked out and ready.
There's a spider in this peg hole right there.
Oh, you.
Come on, buddy. Oh. Put them on the other side of the road. All right, there you go.
Yes. What are you guys gonna work on next? We're gonna build principal rafter sets.
So these are the principal rafters that die right onto the posts up there. And right now we're just building the whole assembly on the ground at once so that we can swing it all up in one piece. And the whole assembly is 2 sets of rafters and 2 posts.
This little post here is picking up a tension load. It's helping to support a beam from above. We're using the roof system to minimize deflection in one of the tie beams. So we have to have a good connection here that will sustain tension. Mortise and tenon joinery, not good at tension. So we're using these active fasteners to do that. All right, I'm gonna head up. Uh-oh, we got a problem, Houston. We got a problem. Is this rafter the right rafter?
There's only pockets on one side.
What they are?
This bay has
is
PR3.
It's free. Is that PR4?
Yeah, PR4.
Yeah, this is PR4. Oh, there's no rim purlin, but there is rim purlin on this side. Okay. Let me get this out of the way. We got to go check the plans. I guess what's throwing me off is that we're missing a purlin pocket. So I think we're just gonna have to get up there and cut that purlin pocket. I'm not gonna bring it down.
That's, yeah,
We can chisel that out in place, can't we?
yeah, totally.
Hey guys, is that gonna fit since we planned for the dados the other way? Hold on, Mitchell.
Hang on. The posts are in the wrong side. I just think we've got to cut another dado. Let's do that right now. Quarter inch, Mitchell. Yeah, that's 3/8. Good.
Gase, what's the issue here?
We've cut out a pocket in the second floor decking to accommodate the post, and the pocket was cut for a dado. And so we're cutting that dado on this side of the post. Right now the pocket's just 7 3/4 deep, the post is 8 inches deep, so we're needing to relieve that post so it will fit. We do that so when the post shrinks, you don't look up from downstairs and see a gap, because the flooring covers the gap between the shrinking post and the beam below. where whoever sharpened this learned to sharpen.
Shelter Institute.
Shelter Institute. Online courses live now. Oh yeah. How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Okay, so we had a little drama on that one. The issue is just that there is a purlin pocket missing on this side.
We're gonna cut that.
Mitchell's working on laying it out. I'm hoping that's all that it is. Everything else seems right. It's like it's supposed to be there.
Working together.
Yes! Yes!
It's never happened.
Yes! I love working with Gabe. Looking very, very good. Oh, I'm down hard on this. I wonder if this is not down all the way. Oh, not even close. Okay, I'm there. Yeah, that worked. In. Yep. Oh, have you done that before? Really? I don't believe you. Oh, that was perfect. Oh, sweet. My package with cat tunnel with cat bed for indoor cats, soft plush, was delivered. No way, man. That's awesome. Woo! That's awesome, man. I gotta travel much less. Bad things happen from Amazon when I travel. Ethan, what are you guys doing here?
We're setting up the stair stringers, so we're screwing them in at the top into the joist, and then we're going to screw them down into the deck down here. So we have them in, now we have to measure, get them laid out and squared up, and then we'll put on some temporary treads. We have these temporary treads down here that the customer cut up.
We've been speechless the whole time. I think every time a crew member asks me something, I say almost the same thing because I'm struggling to describe how we actually feel. So it's incredible. Oh, there you go. Thank you.
started.
That is just such a nice fit, though.
Yeah.
Makes you wish we were sipping it. We had a little struggle today because this timber frame is eastern white pine. The wedding bush that we like to use would be eastern white pine. Unfortunately, we are in a deciduous forest. There are no evergreens, certainly no eastern white pine. We just need a tree, man. We can't let this be the reason we don't finish today. I see some maple behind you. I'm not seeing any oak. No.
Is this what you're seeing right here?
Yep.
This?
Yes, that.
All right, I'll cut one of those because we're from Maine and maple syrup.
Because we're from Maine and maple syrup.
Sound good?
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right, I'll bring it up.
Oh, okay, thanks.
All right, bye.
Bye.
So I'm looking for the wedding bush right now, and normally you use timber the same timber that's in the frame, which would be eastern white pine, but we're in Maryland right now and we forgot to bring any wedding bushes. So I think this is maple. Maybe it's not even maple, but I think it's maple. And we're from Maine, and maple syrup is from Maine, and the timber frame came from Maine. So it's, I think, as close as we're gonna get here in Maryland to a wedding bush. So I'll just take this little branch right here, and we'll use this as the wedding bush on the last purlin. And if you're wondering what a wedding bush is, it's basically just traditionally in building, they did it in steel erecting too, and timber framing. It's to honor the trees used in the structure on the last piece of the structure. So this is going on the last purlin right here.
We ended up, we hope, somewhat fittingly choosing a piece of sweet gum as our wedding bush to attach to the last rafter. Here we are on day 3 of the Maryland build, and today we finished. We wrapped up the timber frame. When we arrived at the site this morning, we had second floor structure to put in place, all the second floor joists. We had to build rafter sets, set the rafter sets, and then lock those together with the purlin. So all of that happened, as well as wrapping up a little bit of decking on the second and third floor. We're going to take a walk through the house and talk about design decisions, joinery decisions, and also take a look at some of the very unique features of this frame.
So, do you want slow-mo? We could do slow-mo.
Slow as possible would be perfect.
So this is the front of the house?
The entrance, that's right, kind of the entry hallway.
Very nice. And is this room going to get broken up at all, or is it going to stay a wide
Yeah,
open
so the
space?
hallway is going to be flanked by a coat room, bathroom, pantry, a mechanical utility space, and a laundry room. So we are squeezing a lot into this little footprint.
I think one of the nice things about this is the very subtle change in width, 19 feet to 21 feet. But from the exterior, you also have this big step down in the roof, which really makes 56 feet feel much less like a long tunnel.
Would you agree, Ethan? That was a decision that was tough to make.
It was, yeah. I mean, we started out, I think, as one width all the way through. Then we ended up stepping it in and then bringing that volume down. I think it is a nice way to bring the scale of the entry of the house down a little bit and then have that larger volume there with the third floor. And I just love these, large 8x12 joists here we have in this area. It's about a 20-foot span. So we've gone quite a bit larger than our typical 6x8 joists, but it just makes for a really nice space here with just that continuous open space.
It almost directs the flow of traffic when you walk in. It's a really pleasant effect. Some of these timbers are big enough that from the engineering perspective, we have to look at the volume effect factor. So you know you're into big timber when you have to do that calculation. The joinery is impeccable. I mean, it's just incredible.
Hi, Gabe. What was cutting this like?
We really like to cut the frame and then immediately raise it. And a lot of this stuff didn't even have a chance to make it into a stack in our shop before it was going onto trucks and trailers.
Just-in-time manufacturing, would you say?
Yeah. We felt the time crunch, which can be a little bit stressful, but it's really nice to be able to cut it and raise it quickly. Nothing sort of shifts. We've done a lot of raisings this year that things had dried quite a bit, and it just takes more time to make it all look as nice as this does. It's a good project.
Are there going to be any hints of timber on the outside of the building?
Yeah, they are a work in progress. So Ethan and I are working on that now. We've got a front porch and balcony out of the master bedroom that's above us. And then we'll have a 56-foot long porch along the entire length of the home, and then a balcony on the west end facing the pond. I think I overheard Clayton say, he either said the prettiest or the coolest knot he's ever seen. So I will always remember that as we walk by it pretty much every day. So that'll be kind of perfect way to enter into the kitchen. Layout to be determined. Yeah, we have a general idea, but we're all gonna get together and kind of stand in the space a little bit, soak it in and think about what we really wanna do.
The posts are 8x10s, which is a little bit unusual for us. We're usually working with square 8x8s, but the aspect ratio of this house was a little challenging. It's very tall and narrow, so there are going to be some pretty large lateral loads on those posts. So they do project into the room a little bit farther, obviously, than an 8x8 would. About approximately 2 inches further than an 8x8 would.
And then this one and the other one right across, we kind of talked about maybe doing a glue lam.
You know, this is a clear span, 21 foot. So we talked about the possibility of doing a glue lam timber there instead. And we ended up going with Eastern White Pine, but with a higher grade Eastern White Pine. So #1 grade, and it's also an 8x16 beam. So that allowed us that extra depth, and the higher grade of timber allowed us to do a nice clear span here without having to add an extra post or switch to glue lam, because glue lam's beautiful, but it's a lot different than the pine, so it's going to be very sort of noticeable.
This entire building footprint, we're standing over a crawl space. How that all plays out in terms of the equipment that goes there, another thing we're working on.
These timber frames are very frustrating because there are no cavities, no place to hide anything.
And we're required to have a sprinkler system in the home, so that's another detail that we've kind of been challenged with, and it's in part why the floor above us and then the third floor, we are going to do like a built-up floor over top of the decking so that we have that cavity.
When you have a timber frame of a particular species and then you incorporate that same species into the exposed stringers of the staircase, it just feels so integral to the frame, to the structure. It's a really neat feature. I wish we did it in all of our timber frames. It just feels so contiguous. So we're up on the second floor. There's one more floor to go above us. Colin mentioned downstairs the built-up second floor. It's a thing that we talk about with our customers. We encourage them to do. I have said it before, I'll say it again. I'm surprised at how infrequently people consider that or actually follow through on it. But I think it's a great time saver, and I think it ends up saving money in terms of the utilities, making it a lot easier to get that stuff, the time that will be saved to install all of those things that need to go into a house, and especially if you have a sprinkler system. I love to talk about the problems with timber frames. We have no cavities, so no place to hide mechanicals, and they're loud. When your children are running around up here, you'll hear it downstairs, but that built-up floor gives a degree of separation. It really does quiet things down quite a bit as well. It's a nice side effect or benefit. I mean, I think the dormers are the story on the third floor. It's gonna be incredible up there.
Yeah, we did leave the timber, like in this space we have timber purlins that run horizontally. In the center bay, they're going to have SIP dormers. So we left the purlins out there except for the ridge purlin and the rim purlin. And then the SIP dormer will be framed inside of that.
What's the plan for the third floor?
The stairwell's going straight through the middle of it where the dormers are. We'll have the head clearance when you come out of it just beneath the dormers. And then just behind it, it will be the bunk room. That's what we're calling it for right now.
Yeah, I recall we were just adjusting the stairs ever so slightly so that we could have just enough headroom when you step off the stairs, but not sacrificing too much floor space up there as well.
We don't often really cut third floors, so that's kind of exciting. Better view while we're working. It's not a lot of braces.
Ha, that's true.
I noticed that.
Yeah, Colin just kept saying, nope, nope.
Yeah, I think I probably, over the course of 3 or 4 months, I probably emailed Ethan about it 10 times, and I was like, I know we talked about this, but can we get rid of this brace? So, I don't know.
We've got 4
just
up here.
something, yeah.
I thought for sure we were missing some brace cut sheets.
Oh, yeah.
What are there, 10 or 12 total? Where's the rest of these?
A challenge with timber framing really showed itself in this design where you have a narrower building framing into a wider building where the difference is enough that your rafter plates are stepped in. So if you guys want to talk about the design evolution.
So the main building is 21 feet wide, and then they stepped in 2 feet, so 19 feet wide. At the far end of the building, that rafter plate is supported by 2 eave posts. But where the 2 connect, you can see the rafter plate is stepped in a foot on each side. So rather than adding another post here, we added a gunstock to the side of the main 21-foot wide building. So we have this gunstock that's bolted into the posts. We also added another gunstock for the ridge of this building as well that you can see from the other side here. This is a little smaller one. That one pockets into the tie beam because of the split posts. There's no post for that gunstock to connect into. So that pockets into the tie beam. And then we also added some fasteners through the rafters into the tie beam just to rigidify that connection there.
It's sort of like a textbook of timber framing because we have principal rafter and purlin system up there, common rafter with the ridge beam down here. It's all the things included in one build.
And then on this end, we did a header across. Since we still have these split posts, we did a header across that pockets into these rafters, and then another short post on top of that just to make up a little bit of extra height so that we could fasten that ridge to it.
I love that little short post was still, like you mentioned, that these being the same style as the rest of the posts that everything lands on. Because really, we could have easily pulled that off with just a square cut block. It's got a mortise, it's got a tenon, it's got a peg. It's timber framing.
At the bottom, there's a locator tenon, a stub tenon, which is called a joggle, which is one of my favorite old-timey timber framing expressions, joggle. So we just had a nice walkthrough of a timber frame that we completed in 3 days. Colin was kind enough to walk us through and talk about the design decisions that he and Ethan made in designing the timber frame. It's fun to sort of reminisce about those decisions, especially when you're walking in the actual physical thing that we have created.
I just want to say thanks. It's been such a pleasure to that's okay. Yeah. Start over? Yeah, okay. I just want to say thanks. It's been such a pleasure to stop by and come sit here and watch progress. And as we all know, plenty of the neighbors have done the same. So you guys are the real deal.
I think we've provided a really nice start to the project. All we've done here is the timber frame. So there is a lot of work yet to do, but we gave him a quick jump start. He's got all of the structural framing, the first floor platform in place. Now he's ready for the SIPs, and we're getting ready to head back to Maine. Thanks for watching.